Now, you might have heard of Janison, but for those who haven't yet, we're on a trajectory that means you'll come across us more and more. We're the company behind the likes of the ICAS competition, Reach, and many other household names in education, as well as what we do to support the government system. And today, we're going to be sharing more about our partnership with the OECD. Now, Janison exists to improve education globally, and we do it through digital assessments, using them to measure knowledge and skills, to provide reliable data, to provide greater student insight, to critically, as discussed today, give teachers more time, and ultimately to drive learning outcomes for kids. And all of this is enabled by our assessment technology, which supports a commitment to equity and accessibility for all. And we're born of the education sector. We're a proud regional Australian success story founded more than 2 decades ago by a teacher and a visionary, Wayne Holden, who is actually with us here today. The advances in Edtech, and in particular digital online assessments, have been extraordinary and only accelerated this last year by COVID. And just this month, through the pandemic, we're running digital assessments in locations as far-flung as the US, as the UK, in China, in Russia, in almost 2,000 schools across some of the least accessible regions and throughout rolling school closures, in dozens of other countries, and critically to hundreds of thousands of students across Australia as we work with the government school system to provide what Grattan has suggested is Australia's most reliable data set to precisely understand the amount of data lost through COVID. But you don't want to hear from me. I want to introduce Sarah Ratner. Sarah's a teacher, a school executive, an educational assessment leader, a PhD scholar, and she's now Janison's group executive responsible for working alongside our partner, the OECD, in making a global impact with PISA for schools, and which, as from 6 weeks ago, we have now brought to Australia. Sarah, over to you.
Thank you, everyone. It's lovely to be back in a room full of teachers again, and face-to-face as well. How special is that? I'm thrilled to be here at the Age Schools Summit today, and what a great day of presentations and discussion it's been so far. As David said, when I was first invited to join the Janison team about 8 months ago now, I couldn't believe my luck that a humble Australian teacher was going to get to work with the OECD on the PISA for Schools project globally. And since joining, I've been given a seat at the table to lead our partnership with the OECD from an educator's perspective, which I think is really valuable. I love that I get to work with the most amazing people from Paris to Brazil, Thailand to Russia to deliver a low-stakes, high-value assessment that helps improve educational outcomes for all. PISA for Schools is a global benchmarking assessment, and the international linking study was actually recently completed by your own Margaret Wu from University of Melbourne, who worked with the OECD to equate PISA for schools to the same global PISA assessment scale. And as a teacher of 20 plus years, I love that PISA for Schools puts the data it generates directly into school leaders' hands, and so they can plan for the future growth and development of their own schools. It brings together heart and mind of students, providing information on cohort performance in reading, maths and science, alongside a read on classroom climate, school culture, motivation, engagement, with a strong student voice. And Andrea Schleicher describes PISA for Schools saying, this assessment is not designed to generate league tables. The OECD will never publish the results of PISA for Schools. We know from experience that high-quality assessment generates meaningful data to guide change. But we also know that the real work of that starts when we put that evidence and data into school teacher and leaders' hands. So to date, we've delivered PISA for Schools in the US, Thailand, Spain, Portugal, Russia, Japan, the UK, Andorra, Brazil, and there are many, many more countries coming on as the demand rises following the global pandemic. We're seeing teachers and school leaders around the world desperate for data that can help them understand how resilient and responsive they've been in the face of the pandemic. And I've seen firsthand the professional learning and sharing that takes place between like-minded schools around the globe as a result of this. And it makes me incredibly proud that we're now offering this in Australia as well. And in the first 6 weeks, we've had almost 10% of eligible schools around the world, around Australia, sign up to take part in this low-stakes, high-value assessment. So thank you for being here today. Thank you for what you've done for Victorian schools and your ongoing commitment to excellence. And please enjoy your lunch. Thank you.